Before we begin talking about Deck 10, I want to sort of do a throwback to earlier internet days, and I have a couple of photos. I hope Anne's in the audience. This is from the Internet 2 Day in 2006 at the University of Alaska. And especially since the title of this presentation is Tools for Home Networks, I wanted to make a point about networks versus institutions. So here we see Doug Van Houweling, at the time was the president of Internet 2. And we had this big day. It was an amazing event. We had all kinds of people fly up to Alaska. Anne flew up, and of course, Doug was there. We had a presentation. You see in the next photo of the brand new Alaskan Senator Lisa Murkowski. And then at one point, Doug gave a presentation on the future of tools for the internet, and he really focused on the home. And I was going through this last night, and I just thought it was interesting to see. I remember this lecture because it was really far out. Everybody's thinking, oh, that couldn't happen. There's no way that that would take place. Or really, that's going to be in our home? So some of the slides, I only have one slide up, but I'm going to read some of the slides, what they said. So one was Mother Consulting. This is all the things he talked about in the future. Now, remember, this was 16 years ago, that in the distant future, mothers consulting with doctors and grandmothers via three-way DVD quality video conferencing. And he had in big caps, 3D, DVD quality. That was a big point, including real-time blood pressure. And then another slide said, father working with colleagues via DVD quality video conference and shared virtual whiteboard. And then the third was family movies shared with uncle and aunt across the country. And of course, we're doing now all those things we take for granted. It's so every day. But it's just happened at the speed of light. And finally, there's one last slide. Like I said, I hope Anne's there. It was a really great trip. And there's Anne standing in front of the Alaska pipeline. We had a really good time. It was a pivotal point in my career. I've been doing internet things for about 4 years or so. But that was a really great moment. But the point I want to make is, back then, to do kind of anything on the internet, intense institutional support was absolutely essential. That you could not do anything unless you drove to your office or went to a place where those facilities and the equipment and the gear was available. Where today, all of this can be done from one's home and is done all the time from people's home. I mean, especially if we think about how the workforces of the world have moved largely, or has made a very significant shift to working from home. And so today, and this is sort of at the crux of our Deck 10 platform, today you don't have to be at a conference or a festival or a music event or things to be able to participate. So finances, concerns over, say, travel, carbon footprint, health, job, responsibilities, these are all factors that prevent people from not going and attending. None of these things have to prevent people from meeting with groups of like-minded others throughout the world. So this is with Deck 10, this is our goal, that is the software we've created, designed, yes, for the arts and music, but it's also more broadly designed to bring many people together. So Deck 10 is a platform that has 3 prongs to it. It's a really large platform. It's all takes place in a web browser. You don't need to download or configure your computer for anything. And the 3 components we're going to talk about are the virtual lobby, the virtual stage, and then Deck 10 Studio, which is the music performance or dance, art, and theater. It's an audio video, sort of like Zoom, but more suited to artists. You can shift the screen. So if you want to go ahead and go to the next slide, Tria. Oh, here's a list, yeah. So we've been having some really good fortune over the past 4 years. We started in 2018. Actually, Trina and I have been working together for 15 years now, and we've done, countless numbers of internet-based activities here from Indianapolis. It's been really a joy. We just work together all the time. But as we started Deck 10, this platform, we've had good fortune. We've worked with the International Conductors Guild, Willamette University Department of Music, among others. We've worked with New England Conservatory, International Computer Music Association, Seamus, and we've created our own festival, Earth Day Art Model, which I'll mention a little bit later. Okay, you want to show a picture of the lobby? Okay, so first we're going to be talking about the lobby, which is the main framework that holds all of the content and is also where you access the stages and the Deck 10 studio. And so here are two covers for some events that we did. ICMC 2021, which was a virtual conference entirely that took place July 2021. And then also see behind it the New England Conservatory Summer Institute for Performance Practice, which was about a 10-day event with roughly 50 or 60 students taking daily lessons, daily master classes, conferences, and then we did a lot of performances over that time. Okay, next slide. Okay, yeah, so Sick Puppy, I'll go in a little more details. As you see, 134 participants. Wow, I shot a little low. We had 20 concerts, 4 workshops, master classes, and more over 10 days. And then all of this was built into this platform, and it was made so easy for the musicians, many of whom had very little experience trying to communicate over the internet beyond just a Zoom conversation. Most of them, in fact, most of the faculty had very little experience doing anything with the internet beyond a Zoom conversation. So you can see our lobby here. This is the shows where the schedule of events. So every single day when people would wake up and start the Institute, they'd simply log in and then they could see the schedule, and all of these events, all they'd have to do is click with their mouse and it would take them straight into the event at the appropriate time. No need to go outside and look in YouTube or Facebook Live. No need to check your email. No need for other kinds of chat programs that are out there. I won't name any right now, that we often see being used in conferences, like, okay, everybody, we're going to do Zoom, but then we're going to do this program, we're going to do this program and this. So in Deck 10, it's all just in Deck 10, and you can just go to it so easily. Okay, you want to look at the next slide? Trey?
Yeah, okay. So one thing, if I can add here, or to reiterate here, is that one of the common challenges in online music events or music conferences is basically the amount of information and amount of tools available to everybody, right? And we want to make sure that we reduce the technical barrier by centralize all the different information into one place. Just like Scott mentioned, everything is in one place. And so for the participant, the experience is consistent, right? So you don't have 5 different emails to keep track of. You don't have 2 different Zoom links to keep track of. Everything is centralized. So yeah, that's the virtual lobby. And the other thing, the other barrier we try to break down here is the communication barrier, right? So in addition to accessing just the content, you can also reach out to your peers. That's usually one of the main things that we do at concerts and conferences, right? So at the lobby, built into the lobby, we have a public communication feature right here on the right-hand side. This is known as the lobby chat. And this is like basically you're talking in the lobby. Everything will be publicly available. Also, you can reach out to anybody in the people section, and you can just send messages to your colleagues and to your peers and just reach out. And so that communication barrier is a key factor in Deck 10. Scott?
So the next thing is Deck 10 Studio. And Deck 10 Studio, like I mentioned, is sort of a Zoom. It's a video and audio platform that's been tailored for musicians, artists, dancers, pretty much anybody who wants to use the internet to do expressive activity. And it's really a fantastic platform. The video component enables one to change the screen all the time. I mean, I can't tell you how many Zoom sessions I've had, and I've just gotten so tired of looking at all those squares. Now, it is squares, but in ours, when someone's doing a performance, I think we have some photos of this, don't we, Trian?
We do, yes.
So here's one. So this was a recent performance at ICMC 2021, and so in Deck 10 Studio. And then they were able to shape their screen. Each performer could add multiple images if they had multiple cameras. Here's another one. This was a fantastic performance. It was a modern dancer in New York City performing with a pianist, and they got very abstract, as you can see. But they were continually able to shift the screen, so it makes it much more interesting. And also, you can do the same with the audio. There is a mixer in the back end of it that if you have someone who's working the audio, they can be part of the performance team. They can be mixing on the fly during a performance. Trian, you want to add to that?
Yeah. So just want to touch on one thing. So we have been using Zoom and similar technology to stream content before Deck 10, and there are a couple of common limitations, and one is the support of multiple video ins, right? So if you play on a keyboard, then obviously you would need multiple cameras, right? One is the wide shot, one is the close up to your hand, or things like that, right? So with Zoom, it becomes really cumbersome. You have to set up multiple computers. So that's one part of the challenge. And one of the things we're resolving here is that every endpoint can have X number of video and audio ins. And so you can have all of your cameras pointing at you at different angles and all the different audio interfaces you want to use. And then from the producing side, we want to make sure that the producers have all the freedom in artistic choices, that we can mix video and audio on demand. So by doing this, we can arbitrarily design which feed goes where, and we can even mix in live performance with the recordings and electronic tracks with voice tracks. And so we have total control on the output of the production. So those are our main goals of designing the Deck 10 Studio. And remember, everything here lives in a browser. So you don't need to install special software to actually get it working. The producers, they will join the same session just like everyone else, and they will produce the output, which will get broadcast to the global audience, basically.
Great.
Yeah. Before moving on from Deck 10 Studio, one of the things I want to talk about here is also the close integration between Deck 10 Studio and the lobby, right? So one of the things Scott mentioned earlier was that, okay, the lobby centralizes everything. But here during SickPuppy, one of the really interesting things that they did here was that we were able to produce or provide individual faculty virtual studios. And this gave them the possibility of running virtual, sort of master classes online and improv sessions, rehearsals, all of those kind of stuff. And also, they managed to do a virtual office hour right here as one of the segments. And so this becomes one of their front desk that you can actually walk up and ask questions, and they would have staff members stationing at this office, between 9 to 7, right? So these are some innovative, integrations between the lobby and the studio that make everything really easy to do.
Now, we don't like to show pictures of people's names and things, but if you want to scroll back up just a little bit, I want to point it out real quick with the lobby platform. Next to booths at the top, it says people. And so you go to a large conference, for instance, ICMC had 400 people. You probably have a dozen or so, maybe several dozen friends. You want to connect with them right when you get there or at some point. It's simply a matter of you go to that list of people and there's a photo, there's a bio. You click on them, you can see all the events they're presenting in or they're performing in, and then you can communicate. You can chat, you can set up a video conference on the fly within the platform. Okay, Trian.
Yep, that's everything. Let's carry on.
Okay, great. Yeah. So now we're talking about the virtual stage. And as a good example of a virtual stage was International Computer Music Conferences. We've done the last two, 21, which was totally virtual, and then 22 was a hybrid conference. 21 had almost 400 participants from 38 countries. We had 20 paper sessions, 21 concerts. We had 3 listening rooms, keynote speeches from all over the world, excuse me, and more over 7 days. And so if you want to scroll up, here's a photo, actually it's a photo of yours truly. But this is the virtual stage. So when people click on a performance, and so this is actually me performing from my studio. It's just a fantastic platform. So you can see, vivid detail of the video, but also the audio sounds great coming over the internet. On the left
DVD quality.
DVD quality. I forgot to mention at University of Alaska at the time, bandwidth. The director of internet services for the university told me that they had about 600 megabytes total for the whole university, and this was 2006, and we were using about 70% of it. But today, us in our homes throughout, at least many of the urban parts of the world. I mean, I just live in a mid-sized city in the United States, and I have just a consumer level bandwidth, but it's 1 gigabyte. And so it's incredibly powerful to be able to do things from the internet. On the left column, we'll show you in a minute, but those are pop-out menus for program notes and bios and photos. And on the right-hand column, right-hand part of the screen, you see all these little circles of people. Those are all the participants, and they can chat, they can applaud, they can say hello to each other, they can give input. And so it's really this highly interactive platform. You want to show the next picture?
Yep.
Okay, here's a waiting time. One performance is over, then this comes up saying, okay, in just a moment, there's going to be another performance, but here's a good picture of the chat. And so you see everybody's photo, people can do applause. We have confetti as an option if people want to, like, when they applaud, then if confetti's on the stage. Some people like that, some people don't. But everybody is in the audience worldwide is able to communicate. So it really, really pulls people in from the online world. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for, you have a conference, and let's be honest, there's nothing better than being together with people in person. We know that, but we're working to make it where it gets better for those that are remote, that they feel connected. And so we imagine a conference where there's people in the center, the core is the people at a conference or a festival or a big concert, but they're surrounded by this aura of people from wherever who want to participate. And not only do they just have to passively watch, they can actually engage. And that's very important to us. Here's another one. You see, this is one of the pop-up program notes. This was a performance of an audio-only piece, an electroacoustic piece. But you're listening to it. Oh, who's the composer? What are the program notes? You simply hit the pop-up button, and then you can see all of that. Okay, Trian?
So I didn't want to add too much, but I just want to park on the idea that we want to restore that human connection that you normally experience in in-person events. We want to restore that for the online folks.
Yeah. You want to talk about the booth?
Right. Yeah. So one of the uses of the virtual stage over here is that one of the pros of about that is that it's fully automated. And so if you have a virtual stage with everything programmed over here, they will happen on demand and automatically, precisely on timeline. And so one of the use of that is that during ICMC 2021. We were able to create a lot of listening rooms, and those are like museum style, sort of installation room where you have all the pieces lined up and people can go in and watch it on demand whenever they want. And so that is in addition to the real-time live stage thing. And this really gave a lot of people an opportunity to, consume and enjoy content outside of the normal timeline. A very powerful feature here.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. And so, Scott, do you want to move on and talk about the hybrid side? Because
let's talk about it.
Yeah.
So ICM 2022, was held in Limerick, Ireland, and it was hybrid. There were, it was about half and half, and that proved to be a wonderful experience, but it was very challenging. I mean, when you start making it hybrid on a big scale, we're talking 300 to 400 people. It really, makes you pay attention to it. But it had some amazing successful moments in terms of people online feeling really part of the conference. So here's one screenshot, as you can see, the program notes. And this is a great shot of the platform. And I see actually, Trian, you have the Earth the Art model platform up too. So we want to make sure we don't forget that. But so at any point during a concert, these are all the names of the people who are performing in particular concerts on the left. You simply just hover over it. There you go. And you can see, these people are, I got to check this guy out. And there's the bio. And then, you click on it and that's a performance. So it's really, people have loved this feature. And actually, the artists have really loved it too. And again, it's such a difference from that to Zoom, where you're just kind of like trying to figure out what's going on. Okay, you want to show the next photo? Okay, here is a paper presentation, a live paper presentation. Then this is the one that I want to show too. This was a live. It was an acousmatic, so no people on the stage performing, but all electronic music. But the camera person was great because they focused on the audience, and then the people. And I participated entirely online with this. We worked the conference from here in Indianapolis, even though it was in Limerick. But it really made you feel like you're part of the room. You could listen, the camera panned around. And I was thinking when this happened, this has got to be one of the best hybrid experiences I've ever had, because I truly had moments during ICMC 22 where I felt like I was there, and because I was so connected with the people. Okay, Trian?
Yeah, so this particular case, yeah, I agree. The cameraman did a fantastic job at focusing on the artist who was mixing the work, and the audio capture worked perfectly. And that leads perfectly into our next topic, which is an emerging role for hybrid event, which is a streaming director.
Yeah.
So in order to make a successful experience for both the in-person audience and also online audience, we want to make sure we stream things in the right way, right? So that includes, setting the stream at the right time and testing the stream, make sure audio quality is good, make sure video camera, the angle is good, the amount of light is good. As you can see, in some cases, some of the scenes might be a little bit underexposed, and sometimes it's overexposed. So those are things that people don't think about when you're running either a virtual or an in-person event. So that will be a new position, and for a successful hybrid experience.
And I would add to that the streaming, how we're sort of cultivating this idea of this, like you have a sound man, you have a conductor. Well, we see in the future you have a streaming director. And the other thing that they preside over is that they ensure that the people online are pulled in and made part of the event. That they're not simply participants and they're watching from a remote and no one knows they're there, but they're actually part of it. And this is where this is going to be a key role for so maybe chatting or thinking about the people online, because this is the role. These are the conferences of the future. The future, I predict in 10 years, there will be almost no conferences, festivals, things that don't have serious online components. Do you want to show them the Earth Day Are model or the ICMC 22 lobby?
Sure, either one. So here's the ICMC 2022 lobby, entering the site. We can definitely go through this really quickly. So this is a lobby. Once again, this is the place where everything is pulled together. It's the starting point for everybody. So first of all, it's the welcome message over here. So this is for the organizer to basically announce any permanent information. And here is the timeline. We want to make sure that finding things along the timeline is easy. And so everything is, printed on this kind of calendar map. And the other thing that we're really proud of is that after the conclusion of events, everything is archived automatically, right? And so in that case, the archives are accessed in the exact same way as you did during the real-time experience. And so people don't have to juggle between multiple links. And so, that's the real-time and that's the archive, things like that. Let me double check on that stuff here. Yep, 1 minute.
I think we're about out of time. I just got the 1 minute cue, so sorry we ran through our time, but if there are any questions, we'd be happy to field them at this point.
Absolutely.
Oh, and here's our information to find us as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you.
So, unfortunately, we only have time for probably one or two very, very brief questions. But I think it was worth going through the whole demonstration. I love the idea of this streaming director and how things are actually changing with new professional profiles that are actually coming and emerging. Any quick questions from the audience? If not, may I ask you a very, very quick one, like a 30-second question? What do you think is the main gap in let's say, from here to the, let's say, full adoption of this kind of techniques for hybrid events?
Well, I'll speak in conceptual terms. I think the main gap is for us to develop an awareness of the presence of people not on location. and that they're part of things. And so it's there's a lot of technical issues with that, and we could go into that all day long. But as a concept, I think that that's a critical issue that we engage all the time, trying to get people to think, well, look, you got 50 people online too, and how do we make them feel that they're part of it? Trine, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, sure. So the gap of full adoption of hybrid or virtual format, I would say it's the user acceptance of the technology, right? Most people are still, relatively biased about, or actually correctly biased about the technology from online. That is, usually they're terrible, right? And usually they're very difficult to use. So we want to make sure that to convey an idea that it can be pleasant, it can be socially connected, it doesn't have to be isolated, it can feel rewarding, it can feel satisfying to participate in an event online, and that'll open doors to then organizers to know, oh, it's actually a good venue to expand our audience reach and to actually do this online. It's not too hard, and actually we can get a lot more by doing this, and we can be a lot more inclusive to the people around the world.
Thank you very much. Scott, Jay Young, thank you very much for your contribution. I'd let you catch some sleep.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.